Everybody, welcome back to Final Residence TV. It's been a while since I put up a video, and I apologize for that because, man, I've just been busy trying to put together new projects and make money playing guitar. Which leads me to my subject today. This awesome guitar right here. Its final version, the Frankenstein, which looked like the red, white, and black there, is now on display at the Museum of Art in New York City. And I'm headed that way, of course, because I'm such a Van Halen fan. I have to see it in person. But let's tell you the story behind the Frankenstein. First, it started out as a guitar that Eddie painted black, and then he put pinstriping tape on it, and then he pulled that tape, well, he actually painted white over it, then pulled that tape, and it looked like this. Now, of course, he didn't know what he was doing. He just did it instinctively, and this is how it came out. Wasn't any grand plan, as he said in the video before. And this became iconic. Now, what happened was that he revolutionized the industry because nobody up to that point had put a humbucking pickup, which is associated more with Gibson and Les Paul, into a Strat body. This started the Super Strat revolution. It also started the graphics revolution, and some of the graphics, in fact, were exact copies of Eddie, which was his cue and response to repaint the guitar in red over the black and white. So this guitar ended up being this guitar in the red, white, and black that you know so well from the Jump video and so many albums that he recorded with that guitar and played live with it at the US Festival. A lot of videos you'll see it there. This iconic white and black guitar that turned red, white, and black is now on display. It is probably worth, I would say, over $10 million if you were to auction it today. David Gilmour's Strat just sold for about $4 million. I don't think it had near the impact that the red, white, and black, and before that, the black and white Strat, Super Strat had on the industry or just in general as a player. Just an amazing story of a guitar and how many people it influenced. I mean, think about this. If it wasn't for Eddie, you wouldn't have a Super Strat. You wouldn't have a Strat-style guitar that sounded like a Gibson or some cross of it. You wouldn't have all the graphics that we saw, all on the lines in the 80s. You wouldn't have a lot of the inventions around the guitar, the whammy bar, the Floyd Rose. Yeah, Floyd Rose came out with that, but Eddie popularized that whammy bar and pretty much put that thing on the map. Before that, it was this little honker here on the fender that just sucks, to be honest. And it wasn't even close. So Eddie Van Halen did so much to the guitar industry, it just really can't be measured. It's up there with Les Paul, I mean, honestly, and that's no joke. He also did other guitars, like the Unchained guitar. When he was on tour, he would paint these things up. Crazy stuff. He did the Shark, which is amazing as well, all with his signature graphic and his style, his own style. And I think that really had a lot to do with a lot of players in the 80s wanting to do their own thing and have their own style, their own graphic guitar. And that's where you saw things like George Lynch's Kamikaze and all these other different, like the Nagel prints from the 80s on B.C. Rich's. There was just a ton of different things. And all that came from Eddie Van Halen. People just don't really think about that, how influential he was and what all he contributed to in the industry and still in the industry today. It's right up there with Les Paul. You can't say it any other way. So anyway, I had to see this guitar in person in New York City. I thought I'd take you along with me on my trip and give you a little preface. So let's do this. Let's go to New York City and see this guitar. Oh, it's not Van Halen. It's Docking, y'all. But hey, we're fixing to go see some rock and roll guitars. Leaving my gig, it's about 2 o'clock. And I got to be at the airport by about 5:30 or so. So I got to run all the equipment home, drop off everything, and then hit the road to Birmingham, which is about an hour and a half to the airport, and then onto the plane, and then Chicago and New York City. So, catch you. Crossroads of the world, Times Square. Tomorrow the guitar, but right now, midnight, y'all. It's midnight in New York City and it's killing out here. It's raining, but it feels good because it was hot as hell today.
I am a victim of the silence.
All right, I'm on my way back to the house. I just got in from New York City from the Play It Loud exhibition, and oh my God, it was incredible. Anybody that's seen any of the pictures knows that it's the collection of a lifetime together. Any guitar player knows these guitars inside and out. And you know, it's funny because being the aficionado of guitars and guitar players that I am, just being such a fan of all these people and all these songs, you know, I was watching people and listening to what they were saying, you know, because a lot of them were just, you know, people that were coming to the Met for other exhibitions, like, you know, 2000 BC Egyptian relics. They even have a temple, a full temple they brought over from Egypt and reconstructed inside the museum. It's insane. So, you know, your average folks are coming through that exhibition, and they're not, you know, they're not fans like me. So I get to hear what they think things are for, what their impressions are of the guitars. And I spent a little extra time on my last day there, about 2 or 3 hours, just hanging out, listening to what people were saying and what they were, you know, if they had questions, of course, I was standing there and I could answer them pretty much for all the guitars. But that was cool to hear what people thought and to watch people react to, like, Eddie Van Halen playing, you know, the Eruption, some of the Eruption stuff on the video. There was a video playing in the room where they had the rig set up, the 1978 guitar rig for Eddie Van Halen, the replica rig. And they had this video. When they played it, people were just, you know, they were just in awe of him, you know. And it was like, I forget what it's like to be like that, you know, like not somebody who's studied somebody so much that, you know, it's just sort of expected. And to watch people and kids' faces just shocked by his virtuosity. You know, I'm so jaded, I don't even feel that way anymore. But to see them feel that way made me feel that way again. So that was really cool. And but just the guitars, I mean, geez, it wasn't just the Frankenstein. Like, everybody thinks it's just because of Frankenstein. Yeah, the Frankenstein was why I went. But Jimmy Page, you know, when I was a kid, I watched Song Remain the Same with my buddy friends when I was in high school, and we would have these backyard parties and my band would play. And when we would play, on the breaks, they would play music videos like Song Remains the Same on VHS or whatever it was at the time. So I would be watching Jimmy Page on my breaks play this double neck that was at the show or at this exhibit. And then, you know, and then of course the Les Paul. I saw all these things as a teenager. So to see them in person, like the dragon suit, the whole 9 yards, to see Jimmy Page's stuff that I had known since I was a child, it just blew my mind. And there was so much Jimmy Page stuff. It was so cool. And his rig was there, and they had a video. They had videos playing above Eddie's rig, his 78 rig, Jimmy Page's rig, and they had Tom Morello had his rig there, and they had Keith Richards. And they had videos for each one of these. And like I said about the Eddie one, that actual interview was from the 2015 thing at the Smithsonian, which I was at personally, and I met Eddie that night. But the Jimmy Page was a new interview shot at Abbey Road with his exact rig. So that was cool because you're watching the video of him.
Quick in your contacts. Should I look for businesses with that name?
My new Apple Watch. No, shut up.
Okay.
Thank you. You little bitch. God, wasn't talking to you. Anyway, so you're watching the video of Jimmy Page, and he's playing the rig you're looking at. So that was really cool. And then they had Keith Richards. He was so funny in his video. And like, I taped all these videos, so I may put them up. I don't know. I may make them separate clips. If they get knocked down, then that won't be a big deal. But I'm not going to put them in a main clip and then have my whole clip, you know, taken off YouTube or whatever. So they were really great, though. And they were, you know, like I said, Tom Morello's and Keith Richards and Jimmy Page's clips were new clips, where Eddie's was sort of taken from the 2015 Smithsonian thing. So I was really excited about the Jimmy Page clip and the Jimmy Page gear. Not only that, the Hendrix stuff. One thing I was disappointed about was that, you know, this is the way these things are. They're fluid, and so some instruments can come in and out of an exhibit, and the Woodstock Strat that had been there was not there. and one of Keith Richards' guitars that was there was gone. And it said Rolling Stones out on tour. It's out on tour with the Rolling Stones or something like that. And so, you know, there's no guarantee that this stuff's going to stay there, except for obviously, you know, Jimmy Page's stuff and people who aren't touring. But so I hopefully can see that Strat, Woodstock Strat, next year. If it goes to Cleveland, I'll go up there and see it, and get another chance to see Frankenstein. Maybe my wife will get to see it too. But anyway, the Hendrix stuff that was there, the Flying V, the famous painted Flying V, it was there. They had the fragment from Monterey where he actually burnt the guitar first, and then he broke it and threw pieces out in the audience. And I don't know how the piece got back, so if any of you guys know, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear the story about how that ended up either back with the Hendrix folks or back with the Hall of Fame. I'm sure somebody in the audience had it and they bought it back or something. I don't know what happened, but probably a cool story behind that. So that was really cool to see that. Stevie Ray Vaughan's #1 was there. That was incredible to see that in person. And what's crazy about the guitars is they were well lit, so to see them under really nice lighting, to see the color that they actually were, you know, like Stevie Ray is the actual, you know, you see it in pictures and it's not, you know, exactly like that under a certain kind of light, not, you know, photo lighting. So it's interesting to see these guitars up close. Eddie Van Halen's guitar was a lot more brighter red than I expected. You know, it had a lot more pop, and so did actually Jimmy Page's #1 Les Paul was a little darker than I expected. And then there was Clapton's Blackie. Man, it was tore up on the back like crazy. It was funny. I look at the back and front and see how tore up it was, you know. And the Blackie it'd been beat up. So that was kind of neat to see. There were drum kits, there were keyboards, there were all kinds of other things there. So it's definitely worth your time to go see this. It's only $25 at the Met, and you get a 3-day pass for that, so you get to wander around all the other stuff too. Killer deal, really. And if you wait till it goes to the Hall of Fame, who knows what's going to be in it, who knows what's not going to be in it. So it's a risky thing to do. But anyway, watch my video. Try to watch this video not on Apple TV, because Apple TV limits the YouTube resolution to 1080p. They'll play their movies at 4K, but they will not let you play the competitor's app, Google, in their TV at higher than 1080p. Bastards. So anyway, watch it on Roku, watch it anywhere but on Apple TV, get the full experience. That's why I shot it in 4K, took my big camera with me to do that. And, you know, I want you to see it that way, especially if you can't go. And you need to go if you can. I mean, really, it's not the same just watching on a video. So anyway, I hope you get to see it. It's freaking unbelievable for guitar players and musicians, and regular people too. Rock on!